Warning, this content may be disturbing to some audiences. Subscribe. If you dare. I am for drug legalization. Not only marijuana, also cocaine, heroin, LSD etc., and it should be sold by the state. Hey everybody, welcome to ANECDOSED. People ask Reddit. What unpopular opinion do you hold? What would get you downvoted to infinity and beyond? Throwaways welcome. Number 1. Commenter. I love being a housewife. My boyfriend gives me a weekly budget, after bills/groceries. If there is any left, that's my spending money. It's never much, but I don't care. I love having a clean house and home-cooked meals. I love it when we have people visiting. I can play host. I have lost friends over this, as they seem to think I am crazy to live like it's the 1950s, but really I'm happy and my only worries are what to cook. Person B. I had a really good job before too. My mother called me an imbecile when I quit, but what I now lack in money I make up for in happiness. Person C. The idea of being a housewife doesn't bother me, as I like cooking proper meals and things being neat and tidy, and I hate getting up early every day to go somewhere, where other people tell me what to do. But the idea of allowance money and not being able to have a financial opinion would drive me nuts. Person D. But what about feminism? Just kidding. Part of being a feminist not judging women for doing what the F they want to do. I can't believe you lost friends over this. They'll come to their senses eventually and realize that it doesn't actually affect them when you make decisions about your own life. Also, they are probably jealous as shit. I know I am. Number 2. Commenter. I think human babies ugly and disgusting. When people post their newborns on Facebook, I hide the posts. I hate people who bring little babies into social activities for adults, too. I love kids though. Person B. Pictures of babies with food and/or spit on their faces are the effing worst. It just blows my mind that people think these pictures are cute and choose to share them. Gross. Person C. The only baby pictures I like are of my new niece. I never thought I'd like a baby picture before. I know I am biased. That being said, I don't think my sister should be putting up a effing picture every damn day. Number 3. Children should rarely accompany their elders to restaurants. Whether the child is 8 or 2, they rarely behave in a way that is appropriate for the public at large. If they are not throwing rice on the floor or running unsupervised around the room, they behave like entitled little shits whose parents are up in arms every time management tells them to stay in their effing seats. Leave all children behind. Until they are sentient enough to behave like humans in public. Source, I'm a waiter. Number 4. Having watched many people around me become awful parents, I really wish a child raising and bearing license was in effect. Something that proved you were taught the basics of raising a child, and financially able to do so as well. I've told this to a number of friends and they all treat me like I'm crazy, but I honestly think it would solve a lot of problems with children from problem homes. As Keanu Reeves said in Parenthood, you know, Mrs. Buckman, you need a license to buy a dog, to drive a car, hell, you even need a license to catch a fish. But they'll let any butt-reaming asshole be a father. Edit/explanation, didn't think this would get noticed, so now I feel I have to explain myself. A lot of people seem to connect being smart to being a good parent, but as people in this thread have pointed out, and I can vouch for, even some of the smartest people wouldn't make a good parent, or at least don't know how. That's what it boils down to, teaching people how to be a parent, the same way you teach a person to drive. That's how this license would work too. Just as you would study and take a test for your driver's permit or license, you would study for a parent license, and you can restudy and retake the test later as well if you failed the first time. So IQ really has nothing to do with it. What I think it says is, hey, you've shown that you've been taught how to be a good, effective parent that can sufficiently provide for a child. I realize this sounds rather dystopian, hence why it's in this thread, and no, I don't actually believe in doing this. Number 5. Commenter. I don't see anything wrong with polygamy, it's their own family and I classify it pretty much the same as gay marriage. It is obviously different, but how a family works and loves is their own business. I don't think it screws up kids any more than normal things kids go through in a nuclear family. Person B. Polygamy is usually looked at with disgust because it is most often found in heavily patriarchal societies, where many of the members have little to no choice in regards to their participation. Also, many young and underage women are traded and sold into marriage in ways that are truly revolting. Polygamy is, usually, gross. Polyamory, however, is closer to what you're thinking of. Polyamory is a broad term, but it can and does encompass closed relationships that revolve around multiple partners, For example, a committed triad might fall into the MFF format of a traditional polygamy marriage, but because they are all consenting adults, there is nothing inherently wrong with their actions. Person C. I would support polygamy only with a very high age limit. There's no problem with polyamorous relationships, and I see no reason why those individuals shouldn't be allowed to marry. My only concern is what happens in current polygamous marriages where women are roped in and indoctrinated into the practice from an early age. There would have to be some sort of buffer to prove it is truly voluntary, I think. Number 6. If your kid is acting the fool out in public, it should be okay to give them a spanking. Parents are letting their kids walk all over them, without discipline. I remember when the look from mom or dad made you straighten up and stop your shit. Number 7. If I found out that my child would have a severe physical or mental disability while I was pregnant, I would have an abortion. I don't feel it would be right to bring a child into the world that wouldn't be able to enjoy living. I honestly think it's selfish when parents know their child will have a painful or meaningless life and continue on with their pregnancy. Number 8. I think statutory rape laws are arbitrary and harmful. It is horrible that an 18-year-old, who knows no more than a 17-year-old about the realities of sex, can be arrested and labeled a sexual predator for the rest of his/her life because he had sex with a consenting sex with them. I don't know what the right legal approach is here, but it is certainly not the current paradigm. Number 9. I find most majors in college a complete waste of time and truly feel most people in college are only in it to say they went there. Most people I know who went to college and graduated regret it now. I think fat people are alright. I don't understand why they are always getting grief. A few people whine and make a whole group of people look bad. Not all fat people hate being fat, and not all fat people are out of shape. My 243 pounds friend is way healthier than my 134 pound self. She never bitches about her weight, and I respect that. It's a whole lot of stereotyping I can't stand to see. Number 10. I am for drug legalization. Not only marijuana, also cocaine, heroin, LSD, etc., and it should be sold by the state. I don't say this because I'd love to be able to do drugs, something I will never do because I'm not that stupid. I think drugs should be legal because they are the primary source of income for the mafia. Making drugs legal and a state business would be the most destructive attack possible against the mafia, a criminal organization that is only about making money in illegal ways. You take away the money, you cripple the mafia. Making drugs legal might increase the number of addicts, but only by a small percentage. After all, people avoid heroin not because it's illegal, but because it kills you. The benefit for society, however, would be enormous, at least in countries where the mafia is everywhere, like Italy, where I live. Plus it would put some money in the state's pockets, which could be used to treat drug addicts and carry on campaigns against drugs. TL, Doctor, prohibition seldom works, let's legalize drugs and kill the mafia. Number 11. Commenter. I think a good portion of guys still sees women are decorative walking sex toys. And most women are promoting that by making themselves look as decorative and otherwise useless as possible. Person B. Honestly, guys do look at me and how I look and assume slut. But I like how I look, and it makes me sad to think I would have to change how I look to get guys to respect me. I'm a human being and I deserve respect no matter how I choose to dress. Person C. So, because I feel like wearing a skirt, doing my hair, and putting on makeup and hey, maybe even wearing heels, because, hell, it makes me feel good, I look useless? How does me wearing certain things or feeling good about myself render me useless? This is basically slut shaming. Person D. Girl here smile, I don't think that was how it was meant. If you get dolled up because you want to look or feel nice, you probably aren't doing it to get attention from others. But the girls who dress like a stripper and expect to be treated like a lady are just being unreasonable. Dress and act the way you want to be treated. If you look nice, people will think you look nice. If you look like a stripper, people will think you look like a whore. Sorry for being preachy. Number 12. I think the whole support the troops is misguided. They all voluntarily signed up and were presented a contract explicitly starting the terms. I don't not support them, nor do I support them. It's like asking me if I support taxi cab drivers. No, it's their job and they are paid to do it. Number 13. I think sex offenders are demonized too much. Like all other criminals, I believe they deserve justice. But I also think they deserve just as much of a shot at redemption as everyone else. Even being accused of a sexual offense will pretty much ruin any career. Get convicted and your whole life is F. Again, I don't think it's okay by any means to rape or molest anyone, I just think the way things are, there is no hope for rehabilitation. Especially crimes like public urination or a 19-year-old having consensual sex with a 17-year-old. Number 14. Another thing I really believe in. If you live below the poverty level 1 or 2 kid limit, no more effing 6 kids when you make 20 grams per year and then have to receive federal aid in order to pay for the children. Also, genophage in Africa. Too much disease and starvation there. It's extremely sad, but them having kids is just awful. The kids grow up looking like Holocaust victims, as do the parents, and oftentimes the children die a slow starving death or from disease. Sorry, but no kids. Also, you should be required to take an IQ test to even have children or drive. Number 15. Commenter. I feel that feeding developing countries is just making things worse, and it'd be best for them in the long term to work and grow their own crops. Person B. I remember seeing a guest on The Daily Show make that argument. His point was that with the UN airdropping tons of food and goods into various countries for free, they had a hard time building up their economy, and it held that back as a whole because local farmers and shopkeepers can't compete with free. He said the best thing we can do for them is to just stop providing aid to them so they can rebuild their nations themselves. I agree with the main point, but the best thing we can do for them is to invest in their businesses and donate to their places of learning. Educated countries with high amounts of business investment are never impoverished. Number 16. Human life is overvalued. I say if someone wants to kill themselves, no one should stop them. If a terminally ill patient in a hospital doesn't want to suffer, pull the plug. If someone is convicted of rape, murder, or anything along those lines, cut out the tedious jail sentences and give them the electric chair. There are so many effing people in the world, some of them need to go. Number 17. The death penalty shouldn't apply to anyone. Not because it's questionable on moral grounds, but rather because it is incredibly expensive and doesn't do what it was created to do: deterrence. We use it for retribution. To make ourselves feel good. Make sure to share your personal story in the comments below and have the opportunity to be featured in a future video. Also, if you like these topics, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification button to continue seeing more content like this every day. See you next time.